It looks like we have finally entered the final arc, the final saga of Chainsaw Man Part 2. The Blood Devil, the confirmation of Nayuta, and the Fire Devil? Oh man, we have a lot to talk about, but before we do, let's go ahead and kick things off as we begin with Yoru's finger bullet having revealed to have veered off to the side, deliberately sparing Yoshida. Grinning, she grabs Denji and leads him out of the hole she created with the ripcord, teasing that she'll show him how devils play. You know, I posted a community post asking if Yoshida was cooked in chapter 192, and Yoshida has miraculously again escaped death. This man has been just catching the luckiest of breaks lately, and although I stated last week that I don't really care what happens to his character at this point, Fujimoto has apparently a lot to do, or he would like to do, with Yoshida, and whatever last threads he has with public safety, perhaps even Kishibe. I swear I'm beating a dead horse every time I say that, but I digress. Now, granted, before the rant and only rant of this chapter comes in the next couple of seconds, I'm going to say right now, perhaps it will be addressed in the next 1 to 2 chapters. I hope. Fumiko, as of right now, if we aren't going to get an explanation, this is a Deus Ex Machina, okay? And I really do hope we get an explanation, but I am a little perplexed that it wasn't at least teased or elaborated on a little bit more, right? Like, even if we don't get the full exposition dump on how Fumiko did what she did in that previous arc, just at least tease something, right? It would have been nice if we just got 1 or 2 more pages or half a page of Fami, Yoshida, and Fumiko talking. Well, that was weird, right? And then Yoshida begs to question Fumiko, how are you here? Oh, funny thing, I made a contract with ... right? So even if we don't get an explanation, that at least still sets up more breadcrumbs and more mystery and more intrigue. And a bit adjacent to all this restaurant bit, in the last stream, the community went out of my way to tell me, DJ Miles, Denji and Fami ordered chocolate cake, not strawberry. Someone ordered strawberry cake for that table, and a lot of people were wondering, well, it couldn't have been Denji and it couldn't have been Fami. Could this be Barum once again making his way? Perhaps, but you know, the thing with Fami, because we don't get Fami for the rest of this chapter, it is crazy how she's been omitted from the story, primarily in the second half of the previous arc, for her to still not reveal any big plans. And part 2 has a very heavy focus on Yoru and Asa, and you know, this is about the War Horsemen of the Apocalypse at the end of the day, entering the final stages of Chainsaw Man Part 2, that Fami, the Horseman of the Apocalypse, has been showing the least amount of love and care, and I hope we get to learn a little bit more about Fami as Fujimoto seems to be wrapping this up. Anyway, as Yoru and Denji land outside, 2 civilians spot them and mistake Denji for another Pseudo-Chainsaw Man. Before he can react, Yoru blasts a hole through one of them. They arrive at Man Chinese restaurant, where Denji notes how rundown the place has become. You know, Denji mentions pot stickers, and you know, this place has great pot stickers, and I did a little digging. Maybe this isn't the exact place, but there is a panel of pot stickers at the same restaurant that Himeno, Denji, and Power were all eating at before the start of the Katana Man arc. So if anyone can confirm for me whether or not Man restaurant is the same restaurant from the Katana Man arc, that would be great. Before they can settle in, the manager emerges. Yoru eliminates the man outright, leaving him horrified. Unbothered, she reiterates that she'll cook for him, and the two sit under the moonlight feasting on dumplings. Do we find this endearing? Do I like this? Yeah, could she be manipulating Denji to a certain degree? Potentially, but then what we end up seeing here later on in this chapter, I will now tend to disagree with that, and I think, you know, Yoru definitely has feelings for Denji. I like this panel of Yoru and Denji just like looking at the city while everything is running in flames and all that stuff. It really parallels that earlier panel way back in part 2 when Denji goes up to Yoru and is like, because I'm Chainsaw Man, and you're like, wow, the city was in a much better state to where we are now. And that's why I think we are in the beginning of the end here, because, you know, this little parallel and then the following line of what Denji ends up telling Yoru, where's the Fire Devil? I'm not sure, but we'll definitely see him soon enough, because high-ranking, powerful devils will greet my sister when she finally descends. And again, when you're looking at the city in chaos and shambles, only for us to immediately talk about the Fire Devil and the Death Devil, these things things are going to wrap up. And, you know, we said it a couple weeks back. Fujimoto has also said too, look, I don't like my stories being longer than 100 chapters. I don't think Chainsaw Man Part 2 is going to necessarily wrap up in like 7 chapters, right? I think we'll still have one more year of Chainsaw Man. Maybe it will wrap up by October this year. We'll have to wait and see. When we put these little context clues, at least we can at least hypothesize that, no, this is the beginning of the end right here. But what a relief. It's crazy that I'm saying what a relief. What a relief that we're going to hear about the Death Devil, the person that's going to cause the Nostradamus prophecy and wreak chaos and havoc in the city of Tokyo and worldwide. We're teasing it, and man, I cannot wait to see what the Death Devil is going to look like. I cannot wait to see what the Fire Devil is going to look like. But more importantly, Yoru says, high-ranking devils will greet my sister once she descends. So how many of these high-ranking officials are we going to get? And I wonder, are they going to attack all simultaneously? And now, again, this is where we get the team-up of Denji, the War Devil, the Famine Devil, you know, Yoshida, Fumiko, everyone in public safety, right? The Weapons Devils, right? That would be very cool, too, because now we would get purely like this clash of public safety and the people fighting for humanity / devils against the Death Devil and her high-ranking officials. I cannot wait for that. But more importantly, Denji also asks, will Control be there too? And Yoru responds, maybe. Although even if she is, she won't be the one you know anymore. Now, I know this chapter doesn't solidify it, but it's definitely solidifying for me. Like 90%, I think Nayuta is done. I think Nayuta is done. If her head was served on a platter for Denji to look at the sushi restaurant before he lost it, even if we know in Fujimoto's stories that beloved characters will end up dying, I still think there was so much for Nayuta's character to contribute to the story. But if she's truly gone, or she will be resurrected, but she won't be the person that will remember Denji, that's also heartbreaking as well. But let me go ahead and tap my shoes 3 times and say this, because I said it for the longest time. We couldn't have a final battle with only 3 out of the 4 horsemen. It never made sense. So thank you, Fujimoto. Thank you for confirming for me, because many people are like,
oh, that's not gonna make sense.
Hello? Narratively, it always had to make sense. If we see Lady Death, we have to see the other 3 horsemen of the apocalypse a part of this final confrontation. So thank you for confirming that in this chapter, Fujimoto. Curious, after Denji then asks about the Control Devil and whether or not she'll be there, he goes on to mention his promise to the Blood Devil to befriend her in her next incarnation. He sighs, admitting she likely won't be the same person he once knew, and realizes that aside from Asa and Yoru, he doesn't have many friends left. So if you've been following the channel for the longest time, this was one of the things I was advocating on. Forget about Kishibe. Forget about Reze. Those things could be cope, and if they are cope, fine. Go back to all of my reviews. This is always something I stood 100% on. We had to see whether or not the Reborn Again Blood Devil and that whole subplot was going to come out. And after so many chapters in Chainsaw Man Part 2, we finally get Denji to say it out loud. So what is he exactly talking about? Well, good question you ask, random viewer. If we can all recall, in Chainsaw Man Part 1, it won't be me anymore though. So if we meet again, it'll probably be as enemies. Denji, go find the Blood Devil somehow and turn the Blood Devil back into power again. Then I can be your buddy again, can I? Denji, this is a contract. I'll give you my blood. In exchange, come find me. Wow. I love it. Better late than never, Fujimoto. This is very exciting. Are we going to get power again? You know, I think that is what everyone's like optimism saying, like, yes, yes, yes. But Yoru ends up telling Denji in this chapter about like, look, even if we see the Control Devil and the Blood Devil, they're probably not going to be the same people you know. And I feel like this is Fujimoto telling us, guys, don't get your hopes up. Yoru asks if he really means that, even knowing she intends to turn him into a weapon. Denji shrugs. He figures he's actually having fun right now. Caught off guard, Yoru suddenly rushes over, plopping herself in between his legs with a teasing grin, and asks if he finds this fun too, leaving Denji flustered. Oh man, that panel. Dude, she got a whole lot of peach in between Denji's legs, and because Denji being, you know, molested, he's, you know, just being used. Look, I mean, at this point, I'm gonna make you guys come up with whatever interpretation you want with that. You know, I think just the thing he here that I'm taking out of it is that although Yoru does fully intend on using Denji and making him turn into a weapon at long last, she very much likes Denji. She's blushing. And recall the promotional poster from Chainsaw Man Part 2 with Asa holding on to a chainsaw. I think Denji's going to be turned into a weapon, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on this chapter. Go ahead and write them down in the comments down below. We are going to live stream. Oh, by the way, I made a 97-minute Kagurabachi video. There's a lot of hard work and passion poured into that video, so if you can watch that, that'd be really great. Pretty please go watch that video. And we are going to live stream, so if you want to see everything that we'll talk about in the live stream, go ahead and click on this video right here. Go. Okay, fuck off.